Good morning, everybody. Good morning, dear students. Hopefully you are doing well. Hopefully you are positive and you are safe. So in this lesson, in this short lesson, we are going to speak about a very important lesson which you are going to be examined in next June national exam, and which most of the students, or maybe yes, most of the students find some difficulties in getting it or in understand it very well. While it is very, in fact, just a very easy lesson, which depends namely on rules, how to understand the rules of the passive voice. So before, let's get started. So in the beginning, we have to understand that we have active voice and we have passive voice. In the active voice, we have the subject is the doer of the action, and we have a verb and then an object, right? So like in sentence, let's consider this sentence. So people is the subject, sell is the verb, and products is the objects of the verb. So this is in the active voice. So here the importance or the focus is on the doer of the action, which is people in the sentence. On the other hand, and in the passive voice, things changes. It's like or change, as we are going to see in this one. And here we put this receiver or the object of an action as the doer of the action. So we put the doer of the action as and we put the doer or the subject of the action as the objects. For example, in the sentence, it becomes the product, which is the object of in the active voice, as the doer of the action, and it becomes products are sold by people. So the focus is put here on the objects, and we start from the objects, and this is the main aim of the passive voice, is to give more or much attention to the objects and to the objects, and of course less focus to attention to the doer of the action or the subject. This is a very important chart, in fact, which can facilitate things for everybody. It's very important to have such a chart with you if you want to prepare to understand well the passive voice. So in this one, we have this chart shows us how to transform sentences from active voice to passive voice in each sense. So we have maybe here 7 tenses plus models. So we are going to see the rule and how we transform sentences, or to turn sentences from from the active voice into the passive voice. So in simple present, as you can see here, we have simple present, we have is or are plus pp or past participle. It is the past participle. pp means past participle. So when we have a sentence in simple present, the rule becomes is plus or are plus past participle. Why is or are? It depends on the objects. If the object is singular, we put is, and if the object is plural, we put are. For example, I give you just an oral sentence. Okay, I will give you an example. So Ali eats an apple. Ali eats an apple, just one apple. So an apple is eaten. Is plus pp is eaten by Ali. This is one short example. Let's move now to the simple past. In the simple past, we have was or were plus pp. Was or were plus pp. So the only difference between simple past and simple present is. This is becomes was, and are becomes were. So here the same thing. It depends on the picture. on the objects. If the object is plural, we put were, and if it is singular, we put we put was. In the present continuous, verb to be plus verb, just remind you. So verb to be plus verb plus ing. So in the present continuous, the rule becomes is or are again, being plus pp. So the new thing here is being. In the continuous, we have this verb to be in form of being. So is, are, or are plus being plus pp. For example, an apple is being eaten, or apples are being eaten by Ali, for example, as I said in the first one. So the same thing here with the past continuous. So the only difference is become was, and are becomes were. So this is the only difference between the two things. So So been, and we keep been plus pp. In the present perfect, we have, as you know, the rule of the present perfect is have plus verb in past participle. So here we have have, we add been plus pp. An apple has been eaten, or apples have been eaten. Let's go to the past perfect, which had plus verb in p. And the only difference between past perfects and present perfects is have becomes in past perfects becomes had, and so had been eaten. For example, an apple had been eaten. Future expressed with will is the same thing we are going to see with all the models. Models like must, should, have to, can, may, etc., etc. So in this model, will plus be plus pp. An apple will be eaten by Ali. An apple will be eaten. With models, an apple should be eaten by Ali, or an apple has to be eaten by Ali, or an apple can be eaten by Ali. So in the future with will and the models, we apply the same rule. So it is model or will, because will itself is a model auxiliary. So will or the model plus be plus pp. I wish this chart will help you to understand easily the passive voice. And as you can see here, what is important for us students to understand the passive voice is to have a good idea, or to understand very well the tenses in English. So we have to understand the tenses so as to make them, to understand first the tenses so as to transform them into the passive voice. Now I will give you some examples, or we are going to see some practice concerning what we have been studying, and I hope it will make things easier for you. So let's get started with let's consider the first sentence. So people eat cakes at Mid-Autumn Festival. People eat cakes at Mid-Autumn Festival. So the first thing we have to understand, or the first question we need to answer in such cases, is what tense is the sentence, so as to turn it into the passive voice. So in this sentence we have people eat cakes, so it's the simple present, and when we have simple present is or are plus pp. And this is what we have in the example. So where is the object is cakes, so we are going to start with it. So cakes are eaten by people. Are eaten. I'm sorry, why are and not is? Because we have cakes. Cakes, plural. Okay? So cakes are eaten by people at Mid-Autumn Festival. Cakes are eaten by people at Mid-Autumn Festival. In the second sentence, so it is also in the simple present again. So people visits their relatives on Eid al-Adha. So relatives here is the objects, which we are going to start from it, or with it. So, and visit is just a regular verb, so just ed. We are going to add ed in the past participle. So relatives are visited by people on Eid al-Adha. Relatives are visited by people on Eid al-Adha. Why are and not is? Because we have relatives again. So the plural form of one relative, a relative. So relatives. If we have relatives, so it becomes is. A relative is visited. In example number 3, Sarah will finish the report. Sarah will finish the report. So the direct object is the reports, and the verb is finish, and the tense is future. It's will, future. And when we have will, it becomes will be plus pp. So the reports will be finished by Sarah. The reports will be finished by Sarah. Now we are going to have some game. And in this game, you are going to choose the correct. You are going to have multiple choices and choose the correct answer depending on the tense. Let's see. So Ali, so the first question I need you to ask before answering is, what tense is the sentence? What tense is the sentence? Is it simple present, present continuous, future, etc.? So in the sentence we have Ali sends a lot of emails. Ali sends a lot of emails. So which tense is it? It's the simple present, of course. Sends. I send, you send, Ali sends a lot of emails. So in the direct objects is emails, and we keep a lot of. So a lot of emails is sends, are sends, send or send. So of course it's are sends. Why are sends and not is sends? Because we have the emails. Okay, we have emails, a lot of emails. If you have just one email, so it is send. In the second sentence, and it is also in the simple present, people buy some flowers. People buy some flowers. So flowers or some flowers is the objects which will become just like a subject of this sentence. So flowers, we have the plural again. So are or is bought. Each are bought by people. Are bought by people. This is the good answer because we have plural again. In number 3, we have Miss Lee is painting a picture. Miss Lee is painting a picture. So the tense here is the present continuous. The present continuous is painting. Is painting. So the correct answer is being painted or are being painted. We have just one picture, one, so it's singular. So the correct answer is being painted. Is being painted. In this one, we have my brother made a cake. So what tense is it? Made. Made is the simple past of make. So my brother make a cake. So it is the simple past. So a cake is the object. A cake was made or were made. It's was made. Why was made? Because we have just one cake and not cakes. So one cake, so it was made. If we have cakes, so it were made. In this one, we have John buys some new clothes. So it's the simple present. I buy, you buy, he buys, or John buys some clothes. So when we have simple present, it's is or are, and we have new clothes, plural. So we are going to choose are bought by John. Here we have another set of other questions, multiple choices again. So the family has cleaned the house. So it is very important to understand or to know the tense in the sentence again. Has cleaned. So it is the present perfect. The present perfect. So when we have present perfect, has or have plus been plus pp. So is it number 1? Is cleaned by the family. The house is cleaned by the family. Are cleaned by the family. Has been cleaned by the family. Or was cleaned by the family. So we're going to choose answer number 3. It's has been cleaned by the family. In this one, they had started the negotiations before 2000. They had started the negotiations before 2000. And in this sentence, the tense is had started. So it is the past perfect. The past perfect, and the negotiations is the object. So negotiations have been started, had been started, are started, or were started. So number 2 is the correct one. Had been started by them. So when we have they, it becomes them. In this one, Sally must give away the all things. The all things is the objects, and here the sentence, the main important element in this sentence is must. It's a modal. Must. So when we have must, we deal with it just like will. It's a modal. So must plus be plus pp. So all things are given, must be given, is being, or will be given by Sally. So the correct answer is number 2, must be given by Sally. And the last example, Pisa was driving yesterday. So it was driving. So it's the The past continues. Was plus verb plus ing. Was driving a car yesterday. So a car, in the rule, is driven by Peter, was being driven by Peter, or were being driven by Peter. A car. So we have just one car. So the correct answer is was being driven by Peter. So this is the last example. I wish you enjoyed this lesson, and I wish you have an idea or I wish you had the good idea about the present. The passive voice. And what is important again is in this passive voice is to understand or to have a clear, good idea about the tenses. So good luck and stay safe, as I said, and stay positive, and all the best in the other coming lessons. Thank you.